A man believes the stairwell in his apartment is haunted by a creature that's not paranormal, but not human. He thinks he sees movement and says this is a still image. The image has gone viral, so I wanted to analyze the video. The video does not look nearly as convincing as the image, which is often the case because it is harder to animate than Photoshop. The figure shows a convincing lack of realistic movement as it dips back into the darkened doorway from where it came. So if you've ever seen this popular picture and were wondering what the accompanying video looked like, now you know. I think this next video is just a man in a suit, but I wanted to get your opinion. They move fast for a supposedly large humanoid, and the way they run looks like a smaller person inside of a costume that doesn't weigh much. They run with their arms up until they remember what they're doing and let them hang a little. Also, I'm not a cryptid expert, but I think something this large would probably lean forward when it runs instead of standing straight up. This cryptid-finding thermal imaging drone manages to detect the heat signature of a cryptid walking through the forest late at night. It looks somewhat convincing at first, except for one glaringly obvious flaw. At 8 seconds, the arms become really floppy, and I think they are forearm extensions sometimes used as a theater prop. The suit itself looks good except for the arms, which look really thin, especially at 14 seconds, and stick out at a weird angle from the elbow. So while I have my doubts about this one, there is one thing I can't explain. It does seem to be giving off a heat signature, which I don't think someone in a costume could do. It should be almost all blue since the outfit has no circulatory system. Aldo's World TV doesn't know what to expect when he and his friend Amir take a drone into the woods from the safety of their own car.
Where? Right there, right there. There's like something. I think it's a coyote. There's like something in the trees. Right there, you see it? It's right there, it's right there. I literally don't. It's like moving. It's right in front of you, right there. Oh, it's moving, right?
They aren't able to go far off the trail because of the thick tree line, but after a while they do see a mysterious creature down on all fours that looks straight at them. It has beady dark circles for eyes and porcelain skin that matches the description of a skinwalker, but when they get closer it just looks like somebody in a white skin suit on all fours. At least that's what I see. I don't know why they didn't just fly up higher for a better view and maybe follow it back to its hideout. Instead, they for some reason go back to the car and don't report it to any park officials, which doesn't seem realistic to me. But if I'm wrong, then I wonder what it was and if it was near the trail to prey on someone passing by. Bruce Austin 3D takes his drone to Stony Point Park for some train spotting and promptly gets confronted by a large number of angry insects. This is near the same location where a boy was once hospitalized by a swarm of bees while riding his bicycle, and this is probably similar to what he saw as he pedaled for his life. I was surprised by just how large they are, more like the size of a full-grown wasp than the ones I'm used to seeing. Someone tell me what variety these are, because they followed his drone for a long distance and were highly aggressive. Here's a clue that might help. Their venom is so powerful. He touched his face after handling his drone, and venom from the bug guts burned his skin for 15 minutes of agony in his words. Here's a scary drone video that I don't see any way to fake. Stromedy heads deep into the bayou to see what kind of creatures would even be strong enough to survive. The swamp water is almost impossible to see down, and they're starting to think they might not find anything at all. But just when they're about to give up, they find what they're looking for.
That's actually an alligator right there? Yeah, right there. Look on the left. No, we actually hit a jackpot, bro.
They're safe in their car and still nervous as one of the gators hungrily moves forward.
Oh, he is? He is! Yeah, dude, he's trying to eat us.
Tell me if you think this gator is looking for a meal or looking to protect its territory.
I'm just guessing. Look, watch. If he moves this way, 100%. Oh, he is. He is.
A city skyline is interrupted by a tiny white pea-sized circular object that goes racing by. It's not an insect because it looks too large in proportion to the drone itself. Some say this could be a tiny spaceship full of creatures, but I think that's kind of a stretch. Someone else suggested this could be a pellet, and I agree this is a possibility. If that's what it was though, then there probably would have been more than one coming at the drone. Whatever this is, it never appeared again, and nobody has been able to solve this mystery since June 21st of 2019. Polar19 posted this video of her beagle in 2008. She wrote, "This is my 6-month-old beagle, Lewis, who started barking and growling at something in the kitchen, mostly focusing on the open cupboard. He has been known to wake up in the middle of the night, barking and growling at something unseen. The YouTuber says that Louise won't calm down until she lets the dog patrol the house. In the video, the dog is barking towards the pantry. He walks further into the kitchen and starts howling. Backing up again, he howls and growls at the pantry. He walks forward again, still howling and sniffing the ground. He just keeps at it, backing up, walking forward, barking, growling and howling until the video ends. YouTube commenters note that the dog's hair is standing on end, and the guttural sounds the dog is making are usually a warning. What could he possibly seen in the darkened pantry that we don't? Whatever it is must be well hidden, as you can hear something growl back at the dog at 45 seconds into the video." So there must be something there. The SEMGHS ghost hunters record some interesting evidence of the paranormal during their investigation of a house in Waterford, Michigan. Nobody is anywhere near the doorway when this motion detector goes off, so tell me how this can happen.
This is my shadow. Oh, the motion went off.
Then when he says hello, the motion detector fades away as orbs fall.
Hello. Okay, what you are seeing right there lit up, that's the motion detector. And
as they are talking about what happened, a third voice chimes in with this creepy whisper.
Yeah. Plus the, it was the extender of the,
A gut feeling, a sensation is almost worse than the reality itself. Say you're alone in the forest, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, you get the sensation that something is watching you. What do? Druid Raven Scout published this video in August of 2015, explaining this very scenario. Well, he packed up his bags to leave the forest. He said he felt something that he couldn't explain, a gut feeling that something or someone was following him. He said he felt threatening sensations as he walked the path over a couple of hours. He had planned on staying in the forest another night, but his intuition was telling him not to. During the 18-minute video, he explains that he feels like he's being observed. He also says he heard something strange up in the trees as he walked the path earlier. He does manage to escape the forest without meeting his stalker, but not without shaking the feeling that something certainly was watching. What are the jinns trying to hide? YouTube team Paranormal Mai confronts the lie of the jinn in this scary video. After walking through this empty bare home, he returns to this room where he finds a strange setup.
Bismillah. Allahu Ekber.
Did a jinn just enter this home? If so, where is it? I wouldn't look over your shoulder if I were you.
Karşımda duruyor sandım. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Scary scratching from within the basement should alarm anyone. Some would call for help while others would grab their phone, not for help but to make sure whatever's down there is caught on camera. That's what two roommates do after one hears noises in a hidden crawl space of their home.
It could have been anything though.
Nah, I heard. I was scared, man. I heard noises. Hold on, move this first.
Feel Scary cat, dude. It could have been rats or whatever. What about it? We got a whole bunch of rats.
Nah, man.
The one who hasn't heard the noises is brave. The one who has is scared.
Are you going down there?
Hell nah. That shit.
There's a light right there, dude. You go down there while I record.
There's no way he's going down into the creepy basement crawl space after hearing eerie sounds, so his roommate volunteers to show him up.
Like the light right there, the string. It's around here somewhere.
Go for the lights.
Hold up. I can't reach. Can't reach. I think I gotta step on that chair. There's a chair right here.
He squints in the darkness, and that's when he finds the scariest thing of his life.
Hold on. Oh shit! Fast that!
1 minute and 27 seconds is when I can barely make out a shadow figure straightening up to greet him. He's screaming and the video ends before we get to see if he escapes from the crawl space before it reaches him. The man sees a ghost hiding in his basement according to the title of this video, but I'm not so sure the supernatural is what he's caught on camera. Something scary is in his basement crawl space for sure, but think about it.
Can't reach. I think I gotta step on that chair. There's a chair right here.
Why would there be a chair positioned directly under his crawl space entrance, unless somebody has been using it to climb into their home? I don't think this is a ghost haunting the basement. I think this is an insanely scary stranger encounter caught on video. Anyway, that's my analysis, but what do you make of this strange sighting? A supposedly real ghost sighting was caught on dashcam video by VBO Life while exploring one of the most haunted places in Delhi. It happens fast, so watch closely or you'll miss the scary stuff. An apparition appears in front of them and they get freaked out, or so it seems. Slow it down and at 8 minutes and 22 seconds you'll see the spirit is supposed to be in front of the car, but the very bottom of its dress accidentally clips into the hood. So while this video's creepy, I can also safely say it's not real. You're searching for ghosts, beware, you might just find one. Posted by DNA TV in September of 2019, this video is not for the faint of heart. The description reads, Lexi returns with Dave to one of the most haunted and active locations we have ever visited. From the moment we arrived, things kicked off and didn't stop till we left. To this day, this is some of the most intense paranormal activity we have ever encountered. The gripping 25-minute video keeps you on the edge of your seat as the pair explore the abandoned site. They note that the place has been slashed up and destroyed since they last visited. At the end of the video, they hear some noises that cause them to freeze in place. They decide to go and have a look. Throughout the video, some in the comments note hearing voices of disembodied entities. At one point, they hear a footstep. Using an EVP, they ask the ghost if that was him walking next to Lexi. They get a yes from the ghost.
If that was you, can you say yes?
If you want to walk and talk with ghosts, this haunted site is a good place to start.
Lil Mayo, you out here?
Spectators gaze overhead at a bizarre white light piercing the sky. Adults and children alike gather in the street with their cell phones out. None of them can figure out what is going on, much less put the situation into words. The whole ordeal almost looks like a helicopter searchlight, except that it makes no noise and does not move at all. A NASA experiment or even a portal to an alternate dimension are two more possibilities, however unlikely they may be. Whatever this is, it happened somewhere over California in October of 2018 and has never been properly explained. Mike Tuttle and his friend Hunter are going to an abandoned trailer in the middle of the woods at 3 a.m. with a Ouija board to do a paranormal experiment. The creepy forest setting has them both nervous before they even begin.
Alright, put your hands on. Let's go. You're sketched out. Want me to? Oh yeah, me too. Alright, ready?
Almost immediately, the evil demon known as Zozo makes his presence known by repeatedly spelling out its name. Mike and Hunter quickly try to move the pointer to goodbye, but it switches to no instead. They are frantically trying to figure out how else they can end this session and make the mistake of taking their hands off of the pointer too soon. That's when something happens to Hunter in particular.
What the dude? Stop f***ing with me. Dude, we're in the middle of nowhere. I gotta go get help, dude. What the
Hunter eventually wakes up with no recollection of what just happened. He thinks he just got here, so Mike shows him the Ouija board and the video to convince him otherwise. It's unclear whether Hunter was possessed or if he just passed out from fear, but both of their reactions seem real, so I doubt this is fake. Let me know if you think this was a prank, or if something really happened to them that night at 3 a.m. When the paranormal comes after you, do you stick around for more? Published by Han Cardisler. That's what this group did, and they weren't disappointed. As the paranormal crew is searching an abandoned school, they find something frightening inside. They're in one room examining things when a sound is heard from the other end of the room. A moment later, a large beam of wood is shoved off a table to the floor. They cross the room, closer to the action. And as they're talking, another large piece of wood comes flying at one of them from the door. Still, they remain in the room, as though nothing happened. Are these guys crazy, or are they unfazed because they're so used to this stuff? Whatever the case, they'd best run. The Phantom is getting more aggressive by the minute. A YouTuber named Jake Carlini and his friends all want to experience creepy randonautica moments, so they summon the scariest thing that comes to mind: forest clowns.
We're all gonna think about clowns.
The app takes them randonauting to a scary location in the woods that creeps them out even in broad daylight. A bird calls overhead, but listen closely, and you'll hear creepy noises coming from deeper in the woods.
Do you guys hear that?
Circus music, to be precise.
I hear circus music.
Oh my god.
It's not like an ice cream truck would be driving out here, so there's no reason for scary sounds to be playing in the middle of the woods. They leave before they can get a clown sighting on video, but maybe they'll go exploring there again one day. Something lives in the dark corners of this abandoned Catholic school. Published by Exploring with Big D in January of 2022, a paranormal team is exploring the school when they hear something unholy. Listen closely. At the very beginning of the video, you'll hear an animalistic growl. It sounds like it's coming from the belly of the beast. The guys don't seem to notice it as they're filming, but they certainly did after reviewing the footage. After seeing how empty this school appears, where do you think this mysterious growl came from? It appears for now the answer to this question will remain a mystery. A YouTuber named JMX decides to push himself to his absolute limits by taking one of the most extreme YouTube challenges yet.
What are we going to be doing? We're going to be not drinking water for 48 hours.
To be clear, this challenge includes not just abstaining from liquids, but also from any food products with water in them as well. Things are going okay at first, but after about 20 hours into the challenge, his thirst starts to get the better of him. JMX's voice becomes scratchy and his lips grow white and chapped. He said he feels confused and not like himself at all, and there are still more than 24 hours to go.
4 hours to go till we're halfway, so we're 20 hours down, and yeah, still kind of feel like, to be honest, I want to drink so bad.
By the second day, he comes down with a bad cold and feels completely terrible. He does not look or sound like the same person we saw at the beginning of the video. Watch this part and tell me if you agree.
Okay, we're about 3 hours away now. I honestly just want to drink something.
By hour 46, he feels like he might be in serious trouble, but he refuses to give up this far in. A friend makes him book a doctor's appointment, and JMX tries to finish the last 2 hours of the challenge under medical supervision. The doctors eventually force him to take in fluids through a needle before the 48 hours are up. JMX thinks that being given fluids through a needle does not count as breaking the challenge. Either way, I'm glad he experienced no long-lasting effects from this experiment. YouTuber Nick Soderegger, also known as Sunspec, ran his channel for years, with it gaining some attention in 2014 for his dance videos. Sadly, in September 2018, he disappeared after hearing a woman screaming at 2:30 in the morning outside his residence. If that wasn't strange enough, since that day, he has never been seen again, and the mystery surrounding what happens remains unsolved. His family has set up a website which will be linked in the description, with a $10,000 reward for information leading to his whereabouts. Published by Scott Walters in February of 2015. This video again shows that drones over common land or private property are an annoyance to most and a threat to others. Walters explains the precursor to the man's anger in his description. Guy started yelling at me, asked if I had a permit to fly at a kid's park. I asked if he was joking. He said he wasn't, so I told him I needed to land. This is where the video started. After asking again if the operator has a permit to be on a children's playground, the man pushes the drone out of his face. He and the operator exchange words, with the operator telling the man to mind his own business.
Don't touch my stuff. Do you have a permit to be on a children's playground?
You don't need one.
Get on my face. You're the one who got in my face, dude.
You're in front of my shit. Look, we just walked over here. I understand. Mind your own business. Don't come question anybody about their stuff.
And the man stating that they're on public property. The argument quickly escalates as anger takes hold. Even as the man turns to leave with his child, the operator continues to shout at him. Those on the aggressive man's side, like Demo Man, said rightly that the drone operator could be liable if his aircraft fell down or flew into a child's head, and others noted that the man was leaving, while the drone operator continued to yell and provoke. Those on the operator's side, like Eric Mendez, said that no one is entitled to privacy in the public domain, while others noted that drone operators are often attacked for something that's just a hobby. Whose side are you on? This ghost hunter crosses into haunted territory with only his faith and a camera. Caught on tape is a giant unknown creature that does some really scary things. 11 minutes and 28 seconds is when they notice the shine of its eyes.
ये यार ये देख लाइट लग रहा है यार कमरे के अंदर से हाँ ये देख ओफ अल्लाह देखा रिकॉर्ड किया लाइट लग रहा
Lying on the roof is something much larger than them.
ये अल्लाह अकबर ये देख अस्तगफुरुल्लाह ये क्या है यार रहीम हाँ वो मामूली नजर आ रहा है देखो मामूली नजर आ रहा है इधर ओ अल्लाह अकबर इधर रहीम इधर
A mysterious figure peeks from the window. Watchful eyes retreat down the roof as they approach.
हाँ दिख रहे अस्तगफिरुल्लाह दिख रहे अल्लाह ऊपर ये देख अस्तगफिरुल्लाह ये क्या है अल्लाह ये देख यार पैरानॉर्मल शोज में पहली दफा दुनिया में यार इस तरह की कोई चीज अस्तगफिरुल्लाह अल्लाहु अकबर.
Footsteps turn them around, but nothing's there, and when they turn back, the figure is in the window again, along with the creature above. What is this bizarre thing looking at them from the doorway? And is it paranormal? I think it could be. The Shadows Are Coming For You. Published by ILM and Bono Paranormal in July of 2021. This creepy clip shows you are never as alone as you think. A man is walking through an abandoned building and his camera scans the room. Look carefully in the window pane. A shadow figure passes by, outlined against the glass. It's unclear if the figure is outside walking past or inside being reflected, but all I do know is the cameraman has company. If I were him, I'd be getting out of there ASAP. TikToker Kitty K38, also known as Paranormal Nightmares on YouTube, continues to capture paranormal encounters in her home. This appears to be home surveillance footage in their living room. In the left corner, there is a chair with 2 supposedly haunted dolls on it. Watch what happens when Jamie enters the room. Upon noticing the chair tilting backwards, Jamie grabs a piece of wood and waves it behind the chair to check for any strings. He cannot find any though. The chair finally returns back down and Jamie quickly exits the room. All this recorded evidence really aids to the legitimacy of this haunted house. What would you do if you lived in a house like this? I'd be sleeping with the lights on. 2 friends look out the window and see a mysterious figure dressed in all white, roaming the graveyard without shoes. She has her head down and pays absolutely no attention to them, even as they call out to her.
Hey, what you doing, girl? Yo, that is creepy as... What the What happened? What the is she doing? Why is she touching other people's graves?
Finally, she starts to walk towards them, and they quiet down. One of the friends quickly points out that now she knows where they live. He screams out the window that she's scaring him, and she walks away, still completely lost in her own world. Here's where things get even more weird. She heads to the back of the graveyard, spins around a few times, and then disappears behind a tall gravestone.
I'm holding this camera until she come out from behind that tombstone. Yo, she's not coming back. She's gone. Where the f did she go? We watched her walk behind the tombstone and she's gone.
They think that she has vanished, but I think she could have just been sitting down on the other side. The 2 friends say that they kept filming for a long time and never saw her again, so maybe she really did disappear. Still, it's hard to tell if this was a genuine spirit or just someone with a morbid attraction to graveyards. A YouTuber named the Spyro Gamer has a mysterious problem with his PS4 controller that I don't think is covered by the warranty. The unexplained video begins with him turning the controller on, and the light on the top remains solid like normal, but whenever he passes by this area of his room,
is in my cabeza, so if I go over here, and there, look, see? See that?
the controller flashes in a mysterious way and then turns off. No matter what he does, the controller refuses to stay on in the closet. Keep in mind, it was able to stay on normally when he was on his bed, so the controller appears to be set up properly and not broken. The unexplained video starts to make a little more sense when you consider ghosts supposedly can disrupt electronic equipment, and that's when the ghost stops trying to hide.
I think it's gone. Yeah.
Oh. He feels something walk by, the controller turns off, and then the door slams. Freaky, right? A reality show that can take a dark turn, Whale Wars follows the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society as they confront whaling fleets over environmental issues. The society is often faced off with a Japanese whaling fleet, year in and year out. By season 3, in the episode titled Sliced in Two, the two parties decide enough is enough, it's time to have it out. Up until this point, the battle has been confrontational, but not terrifying. The Sea Shepherd's arms of choice, paint, spud shooters, and noise disruptors. The whalers, strong and effective water cannons. This time, however, the whalers go all in, heading straight into the Shepherd's small ship. The Addy Gill is then, as the episode is so aptly titled, sliced in two. The ship lies in shatters on the open sea. The crew can't contact anyone via radio. It's one of the scariest moments in reality TV history. Even worse, the whalers start to lower an inflatable boat into the sea, likely to capture the crew and take them on board. The open sea is scary enough. Imagine being surrounded out there on the waters by your worst enemy. Luckily, the shepherds are able to save their crew in time. Everyone survives, and no one is captured. A happy ending to another scary event caught live. A YouTuber named Justin Martinez is recording some planes near his house when he notices one of the planes has extremely sporadic flight patterns, almost as if it is stalking the other one. Then this happens out of nowhere. The plane is suddenly scooped up and fully disappears. When you zoom in and slow down, you can see it's probably not a plane, but rather a UFO. It flies up and away from the scene at a high rate of speed. I think this video might be CGI, because it does look a little grainy. Other people in the comments section, however, have proposed that it's everything from flying insects to the same thing that took down the Malaysian Flight 370 not too long ago. If you like to scrounge for snacks at night, this video will have you second guessing that midnight snack posted to Reddit by Better Than Better. The home security footage reveals a dark and seemingly empty kitchen at night. Around 30 seconds in, a man trudges in and opens the fridge to get a snack. While the man is standing at the fridge drinking something, watch the teddy bear on the kitchen table. It starts moving ever so slightly, bobbing up and down, but that's not all. When the man closes the fridge and turns to leave, the baby walker next to the table does this, confused about whether he saw what he thinks he saw. The man doesn't take his eyes off the baby walker as he leaves the room, but he returns a short time later, his wife by his side, presumably to explain what happened. As he's indicating that the baby walker moved of its own accord, the teddy bear falls over, or rather seems to fly backwards, as the wife jumps out of the room and the man approaches the bear. Two of the chairs tucked under the table spring out simultaneously. If that isn't enough to scare you out of your own home, I don't know what is. I believe dealing with an incident like this is something 99% of people couldn't handle. This drone footage was taken somewhere deep in the Salt Fork Park in Ohio. The video starts out ordinarily enough, but then sometime around the 5-minute mark, you might be able to see something hiding in the thickets. Watch the left side of your screen closely as the drone starts to land, and pay close attention because it happens pretty fast. Many people claim they can see a large creature stop and look up as the drone passes by. Some even claim that this is a Bigfoot sighting in broad daylight. I do see what they are talking about, but I personally don't see any movement, and I think it could possibly be a tree. Let me know if you see it and if you agree. Donnie and Tony partner up to form a freaky ghost hunting channel called Daunton Paranormal. This time the pair are exploring a spooky cemetery known only as the Labyrinth. Exact location unknown. What they found in this haunted place is beyond words and without explanation. Watch the far doorway and you'll see it too. The thing that weirded them out for life.
I'm pulling.
As you can see, a tall figure blocks the top of the stairs. When they get too close, the peculiar shadow curiously disappears. After reviewing the evidence, Daunton Paranormal wonders if they've actually captured a real ghost on video. They didn't notice the creepy shadow until reviewing the tape much later. The shadow figure looks creepy and appears to have no natural source, at least not one from our side of this world. Tell me if you think this was a true sighting, and more importantly, if you would be brave enough to go up to that door and face whatever that was. I don't think I could ever return for a follow-up investigation, but I hope they do. There's an eerie sound coming from the Golden Gate Bridge that is making people lose their minds. A constant haunting hum that can be heard from miles away. Try to guess what it is. Between the red rails is where the mysterious noise is coming from, and as it turns out, this is from a mistake in a recent redesign of the bridge. The new rails were mistakenly spaced apart just enough to let the wind come screeching through at an unbearable volume. It happened in June of 2020, and as of the time of this video, I was unable to find any evidence that it's been fixed. These visitors are boarding the Space Mountain ride when apparently something decides to go with them. Watch it approach from the left side of the screen and let me know if you see it or not. A transparent beam of light appears to move into the roller coaster and then suddenly vanishes. Some people have claimed that this is a famous ghost called Mr. One Way. According to legend, this ghost will sit next to you on a ride and have a conversation for a while before disappearing. This looks like it could just be a glitch in some grainy VHS tape to me, but some people claim that this is indisputable proof of Mr. One Way in action. Even if this video is a malfunction and not paranormal, I guess the legend could still be true. When two strangers pull up to your boat on the Nile, you have to assume the worst. This area is known for pirates. They cast a line and tie themselves to the ship in preparation to board.
Oh dear Lord.
The one in white reaches down and then back turned, stands up while holding something.
Alright guys, look for art. Does anyone see an RPG in there?
He reaches back into his pocket and pulls out nothing but towels. As it turns out, this area is full of traveling salesmen too, even at sea. Still, I think they probably should have ran for help as soon as they thought these could be pirates, instead of recording in plain sight and making themselves an easy target. Kevin Wu ran a comedy channel called Kev Jumba, and it was actually the third most popular YouTube channel on the entire platform in 2008. This allowed him to eventually start to transition from YouTube to Hollywood, where he starred in a movie called Revenge of the Green Dragons. Fame, however, was not the only reason he suddenly stopped uploading years ago. In 2015, Kevin was struck by a car, breaking his back and collapsing both lungs.
I was knocked unconscious and was in the hospital for 45 days that summer.
He survived only with the help of his father assisting him every step of the way during recovery. As of 2017, Kevin has briefly returned to YouTube with a renewed passion. There have been only a handful of uploads since then, but if you are a longtime fan and have been wondering what happened, then I encourage you to check them out. A family watches television while one of them checks their phone in the dining room. No one is near the refrigerator, and yet somehow this happens. On a different day, their motion-activated camera, which this family says does not turn on for dust, records this strange light for just a second, and then nothing else for the rest of the night. Everything starts to become clear when this larger light floats into the driver's seat and then disappears. The family's grandmother passed away 2 years ago, and this is what she used to drive. All three videos, when combined with the recent passing, makes me think that their grandmother might be checking in on them, even from the afterlife. A YouTuber named Yara records herself singing in her room when a visitor approaches, or maybe it's just the sound of her tablet getting put down.
You wanna say?
She looks down the hallway.
You wanna say?
It looks like a lock gets popped, but no doors open. There are no footsteps, no one says hello, and then... Yara claims she saw a demon, but that's a lot for me to believe without the physical proof. I will say that those two noises were awfully odd, and it didn't sound like anyone else was with her before they occurred. A 4-year-old is happily drinking his juice until for some reason the straw stops working. His protective parents get a bad feeling and curiously inspect the package to see what's wrong.
And this is what it's inside. Nasty.
A thick green clump of sludge clings to the bottom and blocks the straw. Slowly, they realize their child has been unknowingly sucking on what could be a giant floating piece of moldy gel. As if that wasn't bad enough, the father flips it over with a straw to reveal an even worse looking underside.
Ew.
Oh my god.
Again, look at that.
The alien-looking growth is probably loaded with bacteria and far from safe to consume. So if you've ever been enjoying a packaged drink and the straw stopped working, I guess you now know a reason why. Your possessions are safe right outside your home. This series of videos will have you second-guessing that. The uploader explains that the first video occurred on a Saturday night in June of 2019. It shows two women on the balcony of a house, innocently looking through a shoe cubby. After checking out a couple pairs, they suddenly race from the balcony. Apparently this isn't their home, and they aren't supposed to be there. These same brazen ladies return in the second video. It appears they felt the need to trespass further. One of the women returns to the balcony, strolling across it at ease. That is, until she notices the security camera posted up in the corner. She laughs and covers her face, quickly leaving the balcony. It's not clear if these intruders made off with anything from the apartment, but Kazium asks viewers to spread the word. If not thieves, it's still creepy to imagine strangers lurking right outside your front door at night. Iljin Pudding of the South Korean YouTube channel Ghost Horror Diary has a creepy video with an important message. Iljin wants to prove that ghost hunting is not a men's only activity and that she can be just as brave. She goes exploring an abandoned building all by herself, a haunted place where paranormal energy pours forth from the entrance. Now this lone ghost hunter starts to catch some very interesting things on video.
여잔데?
Next, she captures this. A scary smiling ghost face makes her recoil in horror.
항상 찍히면 문에서 많이 찍히더라고. 근데 오늘 안 찍히는 게 없나 봐. 뛰다닌다고? 야, 일로 와봐. 뭐야?
She presses on down a hidden hallway teeming with paranormal energy, and at the top of some stairs is a really weird painting that she zooms in on. Something about this place, the painting, the room, feels haunted.
뭐야, 이게 이상한데요?
No more than this, she says, and walks back down. I would like to know more about this painting if anybody happens to recognize it, or anything about the scene it's portraying. It looks like somebody in knight's armor is raising a shield in the air at a podium with someone kneeling behind them, but that's all I can tell. Oh, and there's one more thing that's scary. On the floor of another room is a handwritten sign with this message that freaks her out. Who left it here and what does it say?
아니, 이거 한글 맞아요?
This drone footage was taken somewhere deep in the Salt Fork Park in Ohio. The video starts out ordinarily enough, but then sometime around the 5-minute mark, you might be able to see something hiding in the thickets. Watch the left side of your screen closely as the drone starts to land, and pay close attention because it happens pretty fast. Many people claim they can see a large creature stop and look up as the drone passes by. Some even claim that this is a Bigfoot sighting in broad daylight. I do see what they are talking about, but I personally don't see any movement, and I think it could possibly be a tree. Let me know if you see it and if you agree. When you're watching a poker tournament, the most drama you're expecting is an upset, a rookie beating out a world champ, but in 2010, viewers were in for an even more dramatic and frightening treat. The European Poker Tour tournament in Berlin was hijacked by armed men live on air. Not only did they pull off their heist, but they took home 242,000 euros. Although no one was seriously hurt, panic ensued and the crowd went berserk before the cameras were cut. Don't worry, the robbers were taken into custody and convicted shortly after. Their sentence, a mere 3 years locked up. Old ship vessels are often known for their ghostly secrets. After all, they've seen the greatest evils on Earth in the name of battle. Published to YouTube in February of 2013, The Ghost Activity Abroad, this Navy ship, the USS Hornet, originally aired on DE episode 32. The crew member can be heard explaining how to use the EVP. When in the background of his discussion with the newbie, you can hear a strange voice, one that sounds like a little girl.
Alright, if you'd like to speak to us. Alright, if you'd like to speak to us.
It's hard to tell what the girl is saying without the voice being isolated in the audio file, although YouTube commenters have their theories. YouTuber Madcaps and Nemos writes, "It sounds like she said, 'Can you tell me why they forgot me?' Others here, 'Do you think they know they got me?' Some simply hear, 'Play with me.' What do you hear?"
Alright, if you'd like to speak to us. Alright, if you'd like to speak to us.
This YouTuber shakily records their apartment while inspecting every last corner. It's obvious that they no longer feel safe here and want to record for proof. Nothing is out of the ordinary until they silently cross into the bedroom, and that's when the horror is revealed. A girl with long black hair over her face sits crumpled on the floor. Look again and you'll see that even her arms and feet have no detail at all, like a silhouette. When he checks again to make sure he is not seeing things, he's surprised to find she is all gone. What is this thing drifting in the sky over Poland? This mysterious video was posted in a private Polish Facebook group and shared to the UFO subreddit by Redditor Revolutionary Kale 46. Let's watch. It floats undisturbed over the field, even peaceful in its descent. Unfortunately, the clip ends there, and we don't see if or where it lands. Some Redditors think it's a Mondo Shawin ship looking after the elements. That actually looks pretty spot on to me. It's got my vote. Sometimes those abandoned buildings that some urban explorers enter are not entirely abandoned. In fact, in some cases, they're the stomping grounds for the occult. Published to YouTube by Lego Papa TV in March of 2020. Papa was likely not expecting to be chased down by a hooded stranger performing a ritual in a house where lives have been taken, but that's exactly what happened. He writes, "This is probably the scariest moment of my life I ever had. When moments like this happens, out of nowhere you put yourself in a situation that your mind goes blank." Papa explores the dark dwelling, which certainly gives off an aura that something terrible happened here. The house is utterly destroyed, littered with garbage, ransacked, covered with graffiti, and generally torn apart. As many in the comments point out, there were wet footprints at the doorstep, which may indicate that somebody recently entered the house, or was in fact there, or was still in fact there at the same time. And soon Papa discovers he is not alone. As he wanders throughout the house, he hears noises.
I know she stepped upstairs. Hello, anybody here?
He even sees a flashlight as someone searches for him while he hides out in a bathroom. For some reason, despite all this, he continues exploring the house, ending up in the basement, but when he hears distinctive footsteps overhead, he hightails it out of there. Likely because it dawns on him that if he was to remain in the basement, he'd be completely trapped. It seems he escaped just in time. As he runs off into the woods, he glances back to capture a hooded person on camera, standing on the porch steps. If he had left a minute later, who knows what might have happened. Surveillance cameras sometimes capture images you just can't handle. Posted by one Dante1 to the Sir Spook subreddit. You might want to stay inside at night after watching this clip. Dante explains that they put out trail cams because they lost their cat. While they were working out in their garage at night, they set off their motion detector and, a moment later, caught this on camera. The clip plainly shows the men working in the light of the garage. Night has fallen, and the rest of the scene is quite dark. That is, until a phantom spirit drifts into view. The vapor-like phantom has a human figure and flies in from the top right of the screen. In fact, it appears as though the figure strolls right into the frame. MuggleMad32 writes, "This is a really good capture of an apparition," while Explore with Sunny adds that it's pretty unexplainable. Is it truly unexplainable? If so, do you hold the key to the explanation? Unfortunately, this clip isn't longer, or we may have seen where this phantom is off to. Let's hope he didn't do anything to that poor cat. Letchworth Village used to be a collection of 130 mental asylums built 2 hours from Brooklyn, a place where unwanted people in the early 1900s New York were taken to be forgotten, never to be visited, never to be removed. Atrocities were inflicted daily upon patients unable to make sense of what was happening to them or to defend against it. With a ratio of 3 nurses to every 80 patients, there simply wasn't enough staff to keep everyone well fed or even alive. Mealtimes were a mad scramble in which a handful of nurses had to shovel food down patients' throats, often against their will. Some didn't survive. Their bodies were branded with a number and taken to a cemetery in a nearby forest. Letchworth Village did not shut down until 1996, 85 years of suffering total. Now, after 100 years after its creation, the 130-building mega asylum has rotted down to only a few of the most haunted sites left standing. Areas full of activity that a paranormal explorer named Angelo wants to document. On March 2nd of 2020, Exploring with Angelo enters one of the only buildings left standing. Shadow figures watch from a distance as they cautiously make their way through. Apparitions who are there one moment and gone the next. And it isn't until they begin walking up the stairs that the creepy noises begin. Sounds like doors opening while both of them are standing in place.
That basically might have been housing the warden. That basically might have been housing the warden.
Or this low croak right behind them at 4 minutes and 46 seconds.
That's weird. That's weird.
Or when they get to the top and find the doors wide open leading into the dark forest. So if this door is already open, then explain this.
Why these stairs are all made of metal. This goes to a road.
The door somehow creaks open without moving. It sounds like it's being pulled open from straight ahead, and yet nothing is there. Here's the door at 5 minutes and 6 seconds when the sound happens, and here it is again at 5 minutes and 50 seconds after the sound. It's open at the exact same angle down to the degree they didn't touch it. They step through and turn around to look at the door from outside. They turn out their light to see if they pick up anything. Sure enough, these two beady eyes reflect on the wall despite there being no lights of theirs turned on. At 6 minutes and 25 seconds, they hear and see something jump across the camera. When they turn their lights back on, it's gone. They explore a few other rooms, and when they retrace their steps, the phantom doorway opens once more.
I just heard it again. Yeah, I heard it too. Whatever, just keep going.
The top floor is filled with hospital beds. Look what appears right as they ask a simple question out loud.
People claim they see in this place. Shadows.
A glowing circle floats by in response, and soon a bad feeling rushes them off of this floor. But as they are leaving, they hear this noise coming from a different building, one deeper in the forest.
That's what we've been hearing. That's what we've been hearing, but that's coming from the forest.
Angelo is walking towards the noise when it becomes evident that they are surrounded.
What?
They are looking one way when a hiss comes from the opposite direction.
What is it? I don't know. Oh, what the was that?
Up ahead is another asylum building and more voices.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. That's where the noise is coming from.
And this large white sideways face peering at them from inside. As they walk around the perimeter, all of the commotion strangely stops. The forest is as silent as can be, but as soon as they enter the building, they hear the noise again. Something is playing with their mind. Inside is little more than room after room of decaying white wallpaper. When they reach the end of the hall, they hear heavy footsteps from where they just were. This sounds like real fear to me. At first, they try to determine where the footsteps are coming from, but this is the moment they need to get out of there fast.
Ever since we got here. Yeah. Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
They faced their fears long enough to stop and turn around one last time to confirm they were really being followed.
Anything there?
I'd say it's pretty clear that they were. Tim Morozov, or Tim Frost in English, is a Russian YouTuber who goes into places that spirits want him to stay out of. This time he has his eyes on an entire village that's been evacuated due to the presence of something mysterious, something neither you nor I can see. He picks the creepiest, most haunted looking cabin of them all, and unlike most ghost hunters, sets up high quality lighting to catch every last detail. It isn't long before Tim Frost thinks he sees a mist floating before his very eyes, but to be honest, I don't see anything.
What?
That mirror, on the other hand, is hard to miss. Tim takes it off the wall and is busy inspecting it with what sounds like beads falling off a necklace hit the floor from behind. If this is fake, then someone must have climbed the cabin and poured something onto the roof to create this sound, but that still doesn't explain what happens next. A ghost brushes by and hits the microphone of his camera at 12 minutes and 3 seconds. The mic moves by itself and everything, or maybe Tim's just slightly shaking it to create the illusion of movement. Then his light short circuits, unless, that is, he hits the strobe effect and then turns it off himself. Tim Frost knows that he has to explore the entire cabin, and that includes the basement. He takes the freaky mirror down there with him and starts snapping pictures with an old Polaroid camera for evidence. That's when a brick falls near him. There's a good chance he placed it there himself, because this ledge is an odd place for a brick to just so happen to be perched upon. But right as I say, I notice an orb fly over the brick right as it falls. So now I'm back to thinking it could be real and paranormal. Tim Frost unfortunately gets chased out by locals before he can gather much more evidence. He returns on a different day and selects another cabin. This one happens to still have power, which is odd, but I guess the electrical company could have made a mistake and not switched it off yet. Anyway, at 3 minutes and 45 seconds, he records a strange flickering white light against the wall. It stays with him for more than a minute, but then, at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, it goes away, almost like it goes into the next room, and then this happens.
Блин, что-то голова раскалывается, на самом деле. Спичка вроде все в порядке.
Suddenly, the lights go out and Tim finds himself alone in the dark, or so he thinks.
Как упали тарелки.
He uses an EMF meter to track something moving around with him, and when he hones in on its exact position, his lights start messing up. Also, an eerie mist is visible around his flashlight, but maybe it's dust. He follows the EMF meter up to an attic. His flashlight is flickering badly now, even though it was a solid beam only minutes before. What he hears next is not fake in my opinion. Too light to be a person, and yet all too near. In fact, it sounded like it was this door. But when he looks inside for himself, nothing is there. And get this, the flashlight of his camera is not the last of his lighting problems that night. When he set up his professional studio lights that he's never had a problem with before, they can't seem to stay on either. I would say that this was from faulty wiring with the cabin, but I think this light is running on its own battery and isn't plugged in at all. This abandoned house was a favorite haunt for squatters, and now it will soon be the favorite haunt of urban explorers. Published to YouTube by Lomar Mendez in March 2021, Omar and Chelsea dig right into this seriously creepy house, littered with random garbage left behind, graffiti on the walls, and antique gems that look like they've been around for at least a century. Wandering through the house, Omar opens a door, and as he does, listen closely. You can hear a voice whisper, "Look."
I don't know, I haven't really been here in about a year and a half. The very first time we came here, we actually found homeless people stuff upstairs.
A detour into the bathroom brings viewers one of the grossest things seen in this top 10, a pile of discarded hair in the sink. They enter a bedroom, which might explain all the hair, as the room once housed people. Their belongings are still scattered across the floor. Further along, they find scraps of paper with strange noises written on them. They say disintegrates with light and zap the ground. As they're heading upstairs, something falls in the room behind them, pushing them to pick up the pace. But now they have one problem. There's no way out. They wait around upstairs, but no one approaches, and nothing more is heard. Using an electromagnetic field detector, they sense energy in the home. Though the electricity isn't on, it's a steady current.
Look at that. Is there a spirit in here? Is this your house? Yo, it's steady. Like, for real.
The necrophonic device they use in the basement seems to confirm that energy. When they ask who's in the house with them, a voice says hi, and later, "Sir, hi."
Who's in here with us?
I'm hiding.
Are you hiding?
They continue to communicate with the spirits, and an orb appears in the top right corner of the door. Did a spirit just enter?
Was this your home?
They ask the spirits to make a noise for them. It almost sounds like it says ghost.
Can you make a noise for us?
They both start to feel ill and uneasy. As they're getting ready to leave, Omar says he felt like the entire house shook.
I almost thought it almost felt like the house shook. Like the entire house, right there, just shook.
That's like demonic.
Not long after, while they're speaking to each other, an orb appears to drift from Chelsea's head.
I don't know, but it's like really eerie quiet now, and like...
Yeah, it's really quiet.
Have the spirits attached to their new hosts? If that's the case, that would truly mamma mia. If you've ever worked night security, human activity is likely the most you've ever had to worry about. Working security in India is another story, published by World of Wildlife and more in January of 2018. This security guard couldn't believe his eyes when he encountered a big cat roaming the Mumbai neighborhood at night. Captured at nearly 1 in the morning, the security guard is seen sitting on a plastic chair, probably trying his best to keep awake. The street is quiet. Just as the car approaches, so does an enormous leopard. The big cat looks like he's aiming toward the guard, but as he sees the car's light, the leopard rushes across the street instead and leaps up and out of sight. Wrapped in a blanket, the security guard goes to check it out, likely thinking he dozed off and was imagining things. After looking for the cat for a moment, the security guard walks off camera and returns with a big stick. The video ends before viewers see if he was forced to use it, but hopefully the leopard didn't stick around. The man was lucky the car showed up just in time. He could have been that leopard's lunch. Watch your brains, there's a zombie on the loose. Published by Mr. Illusion in February of 2022, this YouTuber captured what he thinks is a zombie on camera. Dressed all in black, the figure lurches through the high grass. On closer inspection, he appears to be missing his cranium. Despite this, the crew follows this creepy figure, who also looks to be carrying a tool or small hatchet in his hand. He weaves through the woods, off on a mission to do what? I'm not quite sure. Is this a zombie? Or something out of the mind of Ichabod Crane? Junior Tor 1 helps his father move a table, and only when they put it down does he notice something he wishes he never caught on camera.
And we picked it up under here, and we carried it out, and when I flipped it over, guess what I discovered? And I stuck my hands under there.
From the view at 36 seconds, it's easy to see how the spider stayed hidden from view. The circled area is where the spider is, and also exactly where he grabbed the table to lift it. For better context, this is where his fingers were, and of course you already know where the spider is. He thinks this is a wolf spider, but someone else claims this to be a dark fishing spider. This is a fierce debate in the comments section of the video, so let's see if we can settle the issue here. Ika Tulit Jeed is from Indonesia, and her dog is focused on something she can't see, something she thinks is paranormal. The dog's making some weird noises at something, but paranormal? Let's see.
Kayak dia ngomong sendiri. Nah, lihat. Lihat. Dia tidak tahu dia lihat apa di situ, nah. Ini nih, dia lihat di sini nih. Tidak tahu ada apa ya.
I can't say that I see anything in the corner, which is creepy, but with that said, I've seen dogs act like this when they're expecting to get a reward.
I came from Alabama, and he was in the military and in Vietnam. I told them that Charles was not my boyfriend, he was a friend of mine that I was helping out.
Maybe she taught her dog to hold a pose to fake this paranormal video. If so, very clever. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but the only word to describe this one is fear, 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 fear. This photo, at first glance, appears to just be your average selfie, but zoom out and you'll see that the selfie girl isn't the only one in the picture. An apparition appears in the dark hallway behind her, looking very similar to the creepy girl from The Grudge. In a white shirt with long black hair dangling in front of her face, the figure is peering out in all her creepiness at the selfie in progress. Is she a predictor of misery to come? Or maybe creepy Grudge Girl is just photobombing in the freakiest fashion ever? Paranormal explorers Mackie and Amanda are investigating 2 haunted South California estates in this scary video, the Kellogg House and the Mag House. Published in March of 2022, they are in the Kellogg House when something touches Amanda's arm.
Ooh, something just touched my arm. What? Something just touched my arm. Really? Super lightly, but I so felt it just go like super light.
A moment later, she says it feels like the whole house is shaking. Later, they're sitting in one of the rooms when they hear someone knocking. Mackie also mentions that she heard someone's voice earlier.
Yeah, I did. I thought I heard someone, and it was like, it sounded like a lady talking out there. Like, that's probably a worker, but I remember Eli said that he's the only one here.
While in the dining room, they hear a beeping noise. It is not coming from one of their paranormal devices. Not long after, they hear footsteps, and then those footsteps sound like they're running right at them.
Anyone's up? No, really, what is that? Is someone upstairs?
Later, they're in a child's bedroom when one of their paranormal devices picks up an EVP, and then a second one. They speak to the spirits using a spirit box, who tell them that they're present.
So, yes. What? Here. Mm-hmm. What room are you in? Here.
Then, when they leave the room, the music box is triggered again. Is something following them around these haunted estates? What does it want from them?
This is the master bedroom right here. This is where they wanted us to come, so...
It's still going off. Something's following us in here.
Oh, you're right.
Something just, it was you, it went off, and then it was me, it went off, and then there was...
Sometimes paranormal explorations turn up horrific discoveries. YouTuber Mo Sargi uncovered several in this abandoned hospital. While walking through the hospital's hallways, he comes across defunct tech and discarded medical supplies.
The younger people that watch my videos, which is a small percentage, yeah, this is what we would watch and open up applications and stuff. It's pretty cool. Oh, ew, we got blood-covered gloves over here. This is disgusting.
This room looks like it's been staged by someone before Mo.
We got blood everywhere. Holy sh**. Jeez, okay, I don't want to be in this room, that's gross.
On the wall in red is the word leave. Then in the next room...
Is that a body bag? No, that's not a body bag. I thought that was a body bag for a sec. Jesus Christ. No, that's just a mattress. It's so strange though. It's got like these pipes coming down from it.
He breaks out the UV light to check out the fluids on this hospital bed.
So as you guys can see, I do have my UV light over here, and this is all blood. Holy sh**. This is literally, there's blood everywhere in this room, man. This is unbelievable. I did not expect this. I don't know why there's so much blood here, but look at it. Look at how it illuminates.
While we can't be sure that this is that red liquid of life, this place is by far one of the creepiest abandoned places I've ever seen. Central State Insane Asylum in Indianapolis has many secrets. Published to YouTube by D. Holmes12345 in October of 2006. This is an orb video. But hold up, don't change the video. While a lot of the times orbs caught on video appear to be faint and dust-like, This one is different. The large glowing orb is seen behind a fence at the end of a walkway. The orb hovers and then starts floating to the right as the man filming backs away, startled. Some in the comments are all in, saying this is what a legit orb looks like. Others are convinced it's a light reflecting off of something. Others note that, while you're distracted by the orb, something peeks out at the door at the beginning of the video. Watch again, do you see it? Considering these two figures appear in just 14 seconds of video, it's pretty clear this asylum is a hotspot for paranormal activity. While investigating the haunted Bel Air house, Sunny finds that the stories are true. Sunny's experience there gets off to a rocky start. The crew starts to sense things and hear things.
Oh my. What? Oh man, Sonny was coming up.
You cheating? Why you got your light on?
I was trying to come down the steps.
You got your light on too. Y'all up here like a bunch of just turn your light off.
My light is off, man. Okay.
And then footsteps.
Came over here. Listen. Sounded like footsteps, but I think maybe picking up Kristen's.
But do they belong to his crew? Or is someone unseen closer than he thinks? Either way, I think it's time to find the exit of this place. It's a little past 3 a.m. and this video is about to get weird, so I'll try to explain things as best I can. For a second, the doorbell camera goes out of focus, and then this weird thing floats across. Not an orb, not a bug, not a bird, no wings that I can see. It's just a big out-of-place anomaly that the uploader of this video was unable to explain, and I fear I can't do much better. If you've seen anything like this go across your Ring doorbell camera or any other doorbell cameras, then explain what this object floating by was. I'm not the only one who would like to know. This clip was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit and was originally uploaded to YouTube by Hunting the Unknown. As the team investigates the haunted insane asylum, they hear something.
They can give us a sign.
While they indicate it's a knock, it sounds like a loud grunt to me. Later, as they continue walking, footsteps are heard beside them or nearby that seem out of place with their own. Next, they hear something off screen. As they continue on, one viewer claims to see a figure in the window at this point. Look up and to the right.
Taking some more investigation.
While I do see the shadow, I think it's just the wall jutting out, although it does look a bit like a figure. I think the shadow can be explained, but the subtle footsteps and other noises are harder to pinpoint. This place definitely gives me the creeps. Alan Kloss likes cars, but beyond that, he also likes exploring abandoned places that are creepy, really creepy. One such exploration takes place at a bridge in Walnut Port, Pennsylvania, where a woman in white fell into the canal and did not come out alive. Notice how at 3 minutes and 37 seconds the camera refuses to focus on the bridge, a sign of the supernatural some would say. They move their ghost hunting equipment to the edge of the water and get a strong paranormal response. The flashlight turns on by itself and they use 2 different pieces of paranormal equipment to independently verify the presence of something supernatural there with them. This seems like it could be the exact location where she went under.
Look, all right, stopped back here.
And judging by the way his ghost meter goes crazy here at 37 minutes and 34 seconds, I'd say this is either an underground utility wire or the place where she was laid to rest.
Red, orange, orange, orange.
Hit red?
Yeah.
He actually hit red.
Orange, red, red, red,
wow.
red.
Oh my.
What do you think they've discovered? Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.